Well, welcome back to our next episode of The Awakened Stranger. And again, this is Cody. And today we were sitting with Fiona, and kind of similar to some of the other conversations we've had, her and I just started a great conversation right from the beginning of the phone call and just hit the record button. So in the next few seconds here, we'll just kind of jump right into the conversation. And we started sharing some really cool ideas and just talking about life. And Fiona's an amazing person, and I think you'll enjoy the conversation. So with that, we'll just kind of jump right into it. Again, apologize that it's kind of just right mid-sentence, but sometimes that's how it goes, and the conversation just needs to continue flowing versus waiting for a pause. So hope you're having a great day, and I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did. But yeah, it's been just over almost 6 weeks now, and it's a weird feeling. There's part of me that feels like life's starting to get more centered, and my nervous system's kind of calibrating, and I'm feeling like I'm okay with things. And then all of a sudden, I get this like rush of emotions and this doubt and wondering if this is the right thing. And so just kind of going through a lot of the ups and downs, but life, I guess.
What you're, excuse me, what you're experiencing is absolutely completely normal. It's part of the journey. You're only 6 weeks in, I say, and I don't mean to diminish the meaning of that by saying just. You are 6 weeks in, and you're going to be experiencing a year of firsts. Mm-hmm. So the roller coaster ride that you're on, it's absolutely normal. And there are going to be some days where you just have to strap yourself in harder than other days. And other days you feel like you can put your arms up in the air and go, whoo-hoo, and just ride the wave, if you will. So
yep.
I would encourage you not to beat yourself up and try to insert other people's narratives into what it is you're experiencing. It's a powerful journey that you're on. Trust me, I know.
Yeah. Well, and I've recently had a bunch of other people I've been chatting with, and I had one gal that we had to do Google Translate because she was typing in her language, it was Serbian, and translating it back and forth. But she was explaining the whole process of like a kundalini awakening, and
yes,
mentioned that's way more intense than just a standard kind of a spiritual awakening, and a lot of the symptoms that she was describing and stuff that I was explaining, I'm like, that seems very similar to what I may be going through. So kind of just changes the whole perspective of just thinking all of a sudden I'm thinking different to realizing some of the things that are changing, not only just in my mind as well as my body and kind of the way I'm responding to things. Like it definitely aligns more with the concept or the idea of a kundalini awakening. So it's been fun for sure, I guess the best way to say it.
Yeah. So, something different, something unique, that's for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like part of me wants to say I understand it all, and the other side of me is like, I don't even know what the heck's going on. So I'm just along for the ride. I'll just hope it's not too crazy.
So. Yeah. Well, my story is, my current story is certainly different from that of yours, but I would concur that this whole concept of the Kundalini awakening, I'm looking into it more as well. It's very powerful. It rocks you to the very core. And there are days where I just, like today is one of those days actually, where I just feel very lethargic, very tired, very just like I just need to lay low today.
Yeah.
And then there are other days where I have, it's like, somebody's injected me with this infusion of Energizer Bunny and off I go. So it's just this roller coaster ride as well. And I don't know how else to explain it.
Yep. I've kind of had this about 4 or 5 weeks since coming back from Hawaii and leaving my job and kind of starting down this different direction. I had a lot of time where I just felt like everything was under control. My emotions were good. My mind was clean. It was just like I had a direction. And then these last 3 days, it just felt like all of a sudden, like I got thrown in the blender, everything changed. And I felt like I was right back at day one and just kind of going through the same feelings, same emotions, having a lot of doubt. And so that's kind of slowly settled after today, but it's still just this weird kind of looming feeling, like I get these weird heart racing feelings. I get these questionable doubts in my mind and just wondering like what the heck's going on. So
mm-hmm.
yeah. So, but yeah, that's been me. Just last couple days, it's like I sleep longer than normal. I feel like I need to take a nap throughout the day. It's like my body's just like, all right, it's time to lay flat. Like,
Exactly. That's my
so,
current. That is definitely. Today's actually the first time in a very long time, Cody, that I've. Normally I wake up at 7:30, and it wasn't until 9:15 where my eyes just kind of popped up open, and I'm like, "What in the world?"
mm-hmm.
So yes, I do. I do identify with what you're saying.
Yeah. So, well, I guess for you, what kind of has happened in your life? What brought you to this part?
Well, uh, I'll take you back to about I'm going to say 2016. I 2017. I ended up inheriting the role of essential caregiver to my father, who has Parkinson's and now full-on dementia. And I was living in the States at the time. Was married to a U.S. Air Force pilot. And anyway, I was doing a lot of back and forth between the States and Canada, which is where I'm at right now. And especially through COVID, that was interesting and a challenge. Anyway, through this journey since 2016, I've lost my mother. I was divorced. I became divorced. Moved from the States back to Canada in order to be with my dad, to take care of him. He is now in a home, but still there's, the other side of caregiving. Mm-hmm. And I had to, in the 2017 timeframe, I had to put my business kind of on the shelf while I was dealing with the back and forth travel and, navigating the oncoming divorce, taking care of my dad, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just now this year that I've started to take that business off the shelf and start to rebrand and reignite the business. Nice. And I find that I'm just looking at what my available personal energetic bandwidth is. I'm still navigating the caregiving aspect. My father is still alive, if you will. And he is, like I said, he's in a home. He is alive, but I've lost my father already. I'm just going to put it to you that way. So, my life, if you will, there's been a significant amount of loss within it in the last 10 years. And so I've had to take a step back from how I thought my life would be or should be to what it is, and trying to find the health and the beauty within that journey. And so I am really now, Cody, wanting to step into a different version of who I am, or I say want to step into a different version. I have stepped into a different version of who I am, and I'm still reconfiguring and redesigning who that woman is. But it feels a lot more authentic, a lot healthier for me. And I've noticed that I've lost some friends along the way as a result of it, because they don't understand it. And that's okay. I'm not angry with it. It's just, Yeah. So
I've definitely gone through that part of it. And I don't know if I'm all the way through it yet, because it seems like I still got people kind of falling away. And I'm in that mixed feelings of wondering if it's supposed to be that way, if I'm upset about it, or if I'm okay with it. So I'm kind of sitting in the middle of it all right now.
Yeah, well, there may be some people. There have been a couple of people in my life that have been very, very close to me, or I've allowed to come certainly very close to me, and the dynamic of that relationship has changed, which is on the one hand very saddening, and on the other hand, I understand it, and that's part of life. Like, not everybody is supposed to be on that same train ride as you, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the entire journey. Some they have a stop that's only a couple of stations in from where they joined, and some are longer than others, and that's just it. And it's, I don't want to say I want to detach myself from that, but I can't become too emotionally clingy to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's funny because I've made that comment. I had a friend, it's about 2 years ago that I just made that comment. I feel like I'm kind of this, like, only in people's lives for a chapter, whether it's
Yes.
me kind of moving in and out of their lives, like I'm there for just a season. But I've always had that thought, like I don't have a lot of lifelong friends. I don't have a lot of people that have just always been there. And
Right.
and it's one of those weird feelings, like, where it's just always been my life. I've always just understood that's how it goes. But then there's this sense of, like, why can't I have a friend that just lasts forever? It's kind of a weird, and maybe it's poor pity me right now, right? But just that thought of, like, I just don't have good people that stick around for a long time. So it's like I question, is it something I'm doing? Is it just a reason that they're in and out of my life? Like, what's the purpose? But
well, here's the conclusion that I've come to on that. It's when somebody just naturally, organically, if you will, exits your life, or if there's something that's happened, like it could be an argument, a fight, or whatever it is. I believe that people's placement in my life, it's there for a reason. It's there for a season. And when they leave, it's not about me. I can't take that personally. I may be involved in the dynamic or in the relationship, obviously, but they have their own reasoning, their own capacity, their own, right? So I can't take those exits personally, where, just like you just said, I used to. I mean, I'm a Cancer zodiac sign.
Me too.
And Cancer. Are you really?
Yeah, July 16th.
I'm July 1st.
Okay.
All right. But as Cancerians, we love deeply. We are, deeply loyal. We put our whole heart into things. That's just who we are. We're not trying to be performative. That's who we are. And when somebody chooses to stick around for a short chapter or two, and then they leave, we become hurt. Like, what is it that I did? What is it that I said? Why can't they? Why am I the only one, kind of in your immediate periphery, if you will, that is not able to keep these relationships? I know I've been through that. Mm-hmm. And when I catch myself going down that road, I just remind myself, this isn't about me, Fiona. This is not about me.
It's hard to do that, doesn't it? It's like not internalize things.
It becomes easier, though. It does. That's good. When you realize it's not a reflection of your worth or your ability to love, your ability to be a good friend, whatever it is. It's their chapter has been written, and there are lessons to be learned from that. And I've now taken that and become grateful for those lessons, however short, however long they are.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. I use that comment to my daughters. I always say that life's either about a lesson or an experience. And you're either learning a lesson or you're gaining experience to hopefully handle that lesson later. And it's funny because I'm hearing those same messages back from other people, and like yourself saying that it's like it's time for me to start listening to my own dang advice. So just hearing it from somebody else, it definitely clicks a little bit different. So thank you.
You're welcome. No, it's I think we as humans, we tend to be very, very hard on ourselves. Mm-hmm. The shoulds and the we need to, and I specialize in communications, and so especially when it comes to self-talk, mm-hmm. boy, we are really hard on ourselves and really self-critical, And then we wonder why we feel the way we do at times. Well, if we take a look at how we're speaking to ourselves, half the time we wouldn't speak to other people the way that we do speak to ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So I slow my conversations down, especially when I'm talking to myself or I'm trying to listen to my thoughts. Yeah. So for yourself, Cody, I've enjoyed being on this journey with you, and I don't know you, if you will. I know you, but I don't know you.
Yeah.
And to make it not sound inappropriate, but I can say that I'm honestly quite proud of what you are accomplishing, or you should be. You should be proud of what you're accomplishing, day by day, bit by bit, right?
And maybe you can relate kind of with the cancer side of it, but I've always had this weird struggle of saying something or doing something, being in somebody's life, having them tell me what an impact it is, and then not being able to see it for myself, like just kind of downplaying, if you will, my own input into something. I always see that I don't see the same perspective, I think, from what other people's response is. So there's something that I've got to teach myself or stop doing to kind of be able to see that sometimes. So, but yeah, thank you for at least mentioning it, because I have a hard time sometimes even noticing or seeing if what I'm doing is worthwhile continuing. So,
well, here's what I will say to that is there's a concept called, the teacher will appear when the student is ready.
Yes.
And you are doing your thing because it's therapeutic for yourself. It's helpful to yourself. You are connecting with other people who may be feeling the same thing, whether it's, loneliness, whether it's, God, insert anything. My mind's drawing a blank right at the moment. I'm sorry.
No, you're
but
great.
You are creating a community. And while you may see or feel at times the benefit of creating that community, the benefits will not always reach you. You have to have faith that there may be this one person that I had a conversation with, and they are feeling less anxious. Mm-hmm. They are feeling, they feel maybe perhaps stronger within themselves. You'll never know that you were the teacher in that particular moment.
That's a good perspective.
Right? So It's about living authentically to who it is that you want to live in accordance with, how you want to live, why you want to live, where, all of that stuff. And that level of self-awareness and that level of authentic living, authentic self-leadership, mm-hmm. Will have its ripple effect. And that effect will reach people when they are ready. And you may not always be around to witness that. And that's okay.
Yeah. Well, that definitely is kind of ringing true, because that's been, a thought and kind of more along the lines of like this spiritual awakening. And I've had a conversation with people, like I said, talking about the kundalini energy. And sometimes it feels like just what's happening here between kind of the online community, the podcast calls, letting other people share their stories, kind of giving a platform for the information to be stored, if you will. I feel like as like a third wave of people are going to kind of come through this awakening. It's like setting the groundwork for a larger mass of people that's still about to begin their journey. So there's just a weird kind of internal feeling that this is like the preface, the pre-work of something even bigger that's coming. So I don't know if that makes sense, but it's a weird, just feels like a calling to do something right now. So.
And if it feels like a calling to you, then absolutely grab a hold of it and do it. It's no different than some of the greats. They've published their works in books, mm-hmm. and they had their thoughts, they had their experiences and perceptions and all of that stuff, put it into book format. It's been published. Not everybody gets to have the ability to go to whether it's the book signings or, the publicity tours or anything like that. But people will read the book.
Mm-hmm.
And in the privacy of their own home, in their own situations, those words, that impact, that teaching will hit them. The teacher will not know about it, but the person reading the book will. And so I think the same is for you. You continuing to do what it is you want to do, sharing your life out loud, if you will, locking arms with people to join you on your journey, and let it hit who it hits when it hits.
No, that's a good perspective, because and I think partly social media itself and the doom scrolling and kind of wanting this immediate, reaction to something has changed the way people think about things. And I see it myself. Like I'm definitely I want the immediate reaction, or I want some, immediate results. And I think that's part of my lesson right now, is learning patience and just realizing that things don't happen immediately, and everything worthwhile takes time. And so I'm definitely kind of sitting in those feelings right now, just learning patience, it seems like, and sometimes just learning how to slow down. I've always been going 100 miles an hour, and that's definitely been a different feeling, just trying to learn how to slow things down. So it makes a lot of sense too, what you say. So sounds like you're definitely wise beyond my knowledge.
No, I think we're both wise in our own respective ways, Cody. Don't diminish your value in that regard. No. I think what you've done. I remember seeing your first reel, and I was like, man,
yeah.
that takes a lot of bravery, right? And while you may have felt certainly the immense vulnerability at the time, it took an amount of bravery that not a lot of people have. Mm-hmm. So, and you've kept building on it. So wonderful.
Yeah. I think that's part of my whether it's a downfall or a blessing. That's like my brain just says, once I do something, I'm going to complete it. And
right.
I don't know what this looks like yet. I don't know what the completed side of it looks like, or if it's just the whole thing, right? It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And so right now, I think maybe this has helped me learn to live in the journey versus, worrying about what the end result is. So
exactly.
It's just a matter of how we see the story coming and what the perception is, I think. So, but yeah, it's definitely a learning process for me, just trying to figure out life from a different view, different perspective, not just waking up, going to work, coming home, going to bed, waking up, going to work, like that repeating process that a lot of people are stuck in. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, what have you given any thought in terms of how you would like to see this develop?
There's different ideas. The whole kind of story evolved from wanting to leave a corporate career. Right? I posted that day one video with 212 followers at the time. It was more of like me wanting to document why I felt like crap and the emotions that were in that moment of leaving my job. I had quit and returned to my same career 3 times in the last 2 years, and just kept getting myself back into the same kind of loop and wanting something different, but knowing that every time I went back to the same job, it was the same chaos, the same problem. And so that moment of posting that video was more of me wanting to record myself in those emotions, and kind of as a reminder to not go back. And right. It obviously has been seen by more than the 200 people I initially had on my page at that time, and it's grown quite a bit. It's been kind of evolving from that. So my brain goes into the mindset of what do I do to create something out of this, or what's the reason that it went so big. And then I have this inability to quit, and so I keep doing things to continue down the path that seems like it's going somewhere. And then what really kind of came out of it was my initial why. The reason I wanted to leave my job was work stopped feeling good. It stopped feeling like I was helping people, and there was this ultimate drive to be a part of people's happy memories and their kind of vacations is what I wanted to do. Done a lot of traveling to Hawaii, spent a lot of time on the catamaran sailboats, and anytime I go anywhere near water, I like to be in the water. And that was part of the idea, was to maybe start a charter business, start something where, right, families' vacations and their time away from home and away from work was spending time with me. And that became my life, was being a part of other people's vacations and in the moments that they're creating memories. And that was kind of the definition of my why, was letting the income side of it be the byproduct of being a part of people's happy days. And then the post happened and the online stuff started going, and the idea with the podcast, being able to reach out and be a part of other people's families, memories, their life, that happened to kind of evolve into what we're doing now, with having the podcast and just having conversations with people. And that felt like it was maybe a bigger version of my initial why. So right now there's still that idea of creating the business, starting a charter company, and being up there in the ocean and just a part of people's vacation times and being a part of their memory and making that my day-to-day work life. And then this online content and sharing my life, sharing my journey, and having conversations with people around the world, that's becoming like a second part of it. So right now it's like I'm just keep going. I don't really know what's going to evolve out of it. I definitely have taken time away from work. I've got plenty of we've been smart enough with money that I've got some time that I don't have to worry about a paycheck for a little while. And so that was more so, was kind of recenter myself, figure out what's going on in my head, my life, all the changes with what's happening, whether it's the spiritual awakening, whether it's a midlife crisis, a mental breakdown, let's call it all of it. But right now it's just that, trying to figure out my life, figure out what I want to do, knowing that eventually I've got to create some income. And right now it's just a figuring out myself kind of season. So there's several avenues, but nothing that I've really kind of dialed in or said that that's the direction I want to go yet, other than I know that being near the water and being by the ocean is something that, like, my soul kind of feels like it's calling to me, and that's just a location that makes me feel good. I definitely enjoy the water.
Is your wife in support of you?
And that's the hard part. Yes and no. We've been so my birthday is July 16th. We were married on July 15th. It was the day before my birthday. And so this year will be our 20-year anniversary. And we've gone through life. We've all had good and bad experiences, and good times and bad times. And we continue to fight through the struggles. And we're both in a spot right now where neither of us, I want change. She wants nothing to change. I want to be by the ocean. She doesn't. She likes the mountains. So we definitely love each other. We definitely want to keep each other happy, but we're both kind of looking at two different directions. And so a lot of conversations right now, a lot of just trying to navigate life. So there's some unknowns right now, but I think that's the other part. This whole kind of 2.5 years ago is what kind of really kicked off my awakening, or what kind of started everything from changing, and it continues to evolve over these last 2 years. And there's just this weird kind of internal calling, a weird sense of like direction, if you will, that says I need to be living in a different location. So we're kind of going through that, sitting with some therapists and some counseling and life coaches, and trying to just figure out what the right decision is. So I think for me, there's a weird feeling of knowing what I think I need to do, and then a second side of it, trying to be logical and think through it without just making a rash decision. So I guess the answer is we don't really know. A lot of things up in the air.
Well, you seem like you have certainly made the decision in terms of the lifestyle that you want to have. And now, the only thing that you have to be concerning yourself with is kind of the what and the why, the where, the when, the how. That is, again, depending on what your preference of deity is, whether it's God, whether it's universe, spirit, whatever it is, they will take care of the rest. It's you having to obviously be very, very clear with what it is and why. And then actually seeing yourself and feeling yourself in that future. And I don't even want to say seeing yourself in that future version of yourself. It's almost like you have to walk and talk and breathe and act like you are that future self already right now. Right?
Yeah. And that's one thing that I've been trying to kind of more focus on too, is right, the idea of manifesting. You gotta act as if kind of thing. And that's been the weird thing for me, is like trying to live my life in a way that I want it to be, but then also knowing I still have something that's completely different. That's still kind of part of my current reality. So it's a weird mental switch that I think's happened, but the physical side of it hasn't changed yet. So kind of sitting on both sides of the fence is what it feels like.
Well, it's kind of funny that we're having this conversation about manifestation, because I'm actually running a workshop next week on manifestation for a small group of women. But I take a look at 10 years ago, 15 years ago, how, we knew about the word manifestation, this whole law of attraction thing, blah, 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 blah. And how many times I was trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. It wasn't working. It was, and not understanding some more important, powerful laws, if you will. And where I live, how I live, despite some of the, I'm going to call them hardships, quote unquote, that I described to you at the beginning of this call. All of that is why I'm here where I'm at. And that's why I'm grateful. And I had the ability to, excuse me, work with, if you will, Bob Proctor before he passed away.
Oh, nice.
And it was a real, and this was back in 15, 16 is when I worked with him. And he really kind of turned me on my axis to basically just remind myself it's, being grateful for what it is you have now. You may not have that much right now, but what you do have right now, be thankful for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And be thankful that you have the ability and the aptitude and the heart's desire to create something bigger, better, if you will, for you and for your family. Because there are lots of people, Cody, that, like you said, they clock into work in the morning, they do their work, they come home, they doom scroll, they eat, they do whatever, they go to bed, and it's a rinse and repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And you're either living 99 years or you're living 1 year 99 times.
And that's what I think was happening to me. We just kept repeating the same thing over and over and over, and it finally just wore me out. And now it's it's time for something different. I want to live. I want to go experience life. I want to see things. I want to be out in nature. I used to only do things when I knew the outcome or I knew what the end result was going to be. And now it's like I just want to go in one direction or something that feels like the right direction and let whatever happens happen. Like I've just stopped trying to control the outcome and seeing a lot of really cool things come into my life. So trying to learn to live with a little bit more faith, more trust that things are okay.
Well, that's the lesson that I've just learned again. I'm going to say in the last year. I was in the corporate world for, I'm going to say 25 plus years, and very successful. I was in international business. I lived in Europe, Canada, the United States, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of my success was driven because, I'm in control. I'm moving forward, and this is where I want to go, and this is what needs to happen. And you're controlling people and processes and policies and procedures and all of that stuff to get to that end goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's very normal. It's very accepted. It's just that's part of the gig. But that control is not something that you can have in your personal life. Sometimes, sometimes, like you said, yes, you can have a vision, and yes, you can know where you want to go and why you want to go to that particular destination, if you will. And everything else it's based on faith. It's based on believing. It's based on knowing who I am right now and who I need to become still in order to achieve that. I can't control that for other people. I can only do that for myself.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of one thing I've been thinking about lately is where I'm currently at in my life. the career that I had, the house, the truck, the vacations, the family, the budget that we've lived with, like a lot of that was exactly what I was wanting the last 5-10 years. And that's like I've manifested that life, and now I'm here, and I look back, I'm like, what am I doing? This wasn't what I really want, or now what I want is changing. And so yeah,
and that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yep.
You know, you didn't know then what you know now. Okay. And the decisions that you made back then weren't wrong decisions. They were decisions. And now you're at a point where it's like, okay, hold on. I need to change these decisions because this isn't working for me anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Life is an upward spiral.
Yep. And I've used that reference a lot with talking to my conversations with my daughter and even other people on the phone, but just that repeating cycles over and over, just from a different perspective. And as we continue to grow and evolve, we might repeat a lesson or repeat an experience to then see how we respond differently. And this last couple days has been feeling like I've repeated this old cycle from even 6 weeks ago, but looking at it from a different perspective, but still kind of feeling some of those same old emotions. So just kind of sitting with it a little bit different, but it's a weird kind of feeling like I'm repeating a same pattern. So I don't know.
Well, I wish you and certainly your wife a smooth passage in navigating these decisions moving forward. Mm-hmm. Because if she likes the mountains and you like the ocean, I know that Hawaii does have some mountains.
Yeah.
But what part of Hawaii are you looking at?
I feel Maui is kind of a space that I've really enjoyed. We've vacationed there for the last 13, 14 years, and typically that's a week in July that we go between my birthday and our anniversary. We've gone every other year with the kids, a year without them. But there's just a weird kind of and I say it's like my soul calling me to that location, but there's a kind of a pull to that geographical space, not just the beach. So it's a weird feeling to just be called to feel like I'm being asked to be in Maui. It's kind of the overwhelming kind of feeling, but sometimes
you are a Cancerian, so you do have to be by the water. So there is that.
So, but it's just more prominent now than it has been in the past, where for a long time I've just thought, okay, I like the vacations there, so we keep going back. And now it's like a weird pull. It's a feeling like my soul is asking me to be in that space. So it's kind of a hard way to explain that to people.
Does she enjoy it as much as you?
We definitely enjoy it. We have a lot of good times and the vacations there, but I don't think it's the same level of kind of where, like I would sell everything. I've made the joke, like if you give me a tent on the beach and a membership to the gym so I have a place to shower, like that would be complete happiness for me. It's not about needing or wanting something there. It's just about being there. So it's a different feeling than just thinking I want to go live on and have a nice beach house and a great view and sit there and stare at the ocean. Like there's just a sense of needing to be there. So almost to the point of it doesn't matter how I'm there, give up the big house and the truck and the career here to just go sit on the beach would make me happy. So
have you considered, God, I don't even know exactly how they call it. Just like, living 6 months there, 6 months back in Utah to kind of
see from the beginning. We've even talked about that of just, my aunt and my uncle on my mom's side, he's a big crane helicopter mechanic, right? And he spends most of his life in Peru rebuilding engines for these big helicopter cranes that work in the rainforest. And so he spends a good portion of the month away from home, and they've lived 25 years together, or maybe longer. So we were even having that conversation of maybe spending a season or so away and doing something that feels like it's fulfilling my purpose or my calling in being in a location and then coming home. So there's definitely been talks about it. I think a lot of it's just kind of figuring out the logistics and making sure that financially could happen. So, But yeah, that's definitely been something we brought up because it's a weird feeling to know that you want to go live somewhere else, and that if it's either kind of all or nothing is what it seems like lately. And I think that's me just trying to figure out what my brain is asking for. Is, but so yeah, that's been on the table, I guess. So it might be an option.
And how do the girls feel about it?
So my youngest is 17, middle one's 19. My oldest is married. She's 26. They've been married 4 years, live in their own place. And we have grandkids with them. So the two younger ones are still mostly at home. My 19-year-old's doing college away, so she's in the dorms during the semesters. Home right now for the summer. So she's kind of in that middle ground of living at home, but also trying to kind of get her feet out in the world and be independent. My youngest one is probably a lot like me. I think the second she has the option to be able to provide for herself, she's going to want to just go take on life head on and do her thing. So all of them have gone through their colleges and kind of started already with their degree. They've kind of got everything in their life in a good direction. But they definitely want life to stay the same. So the location, the friends, the kind of what they're familiar with is more of their thought of keeping life the same. So, and that's the weird hard pull. I keep thinking, even a flight from Hawaii is 6.5 hours away. So it's not like I'm a huge long distance away other than miles, but we're still just kind of having those family discussions, trying to figure out what makes sense for everybody. So
when would you like to, I mean, you walked away from your career, but so do you have any ideas in terms of when you would like to be out there?
And a lot of it for me is just making sure I'm taking the right steps, making the right decisions. I've always been one that makes just very quick decisions and then push forward. And that's what happened a long time ago. Somebody made the comment to me like, there's no right or wrong decisions. It's make a decision and then go make it right.
That's right.
And so for me, like I could today just pack up a bag and be fine. I'd go spend my time and I'd figure out life, and I could make that decision right now. I feel like there's enough of a soul calling that I understand that's kind of what I need to do. But then trying to slow down a little bit and make sure I'm taking thoughts of everybody else's life and what my kids are going to go through and what the relationship looks like. Like there's that kind of slow down and make sure I'm not making a rash decision. But I think that's what I'm struggling with right now is the delay and kind of knowing that maybe there's something different coming, but waiting to find out when it's happening. So yeah, it's kind of a mix. I think I could go on doing life the way it has been for a while. Not sure if I'd be fully happy, or just jump into something completely different and figure it out. That's what I've always done in my life, is just figured it out.
So what was your career that you walked away from?
So I was a finance director in the automotive business. So I was finance director for a large Ford dealership. So writing loan contracts, getting loans approved, helping people with their car buying purchase, that process. So, and then my role there was to sell the back end products, the extended service contracts, the maintenance plans, gap insurance, windshield and dent protection, so all the protection items that come with the car purchase. And that's what happened. I've done that for over 13 years. Was generally, and again, more probably bragging from an ego perspective, but I was really good at what I did. I was always within the top 5% of any company. I produced a large amount of profit for the business, and just got to the part where I stopped feeling like what I was doing by getting a customer in my office and within 7 to 10 minutes building enough rapport and relationship conversations that they were spending an additional $10,000 to $15,000 with me within 10 minutes. Got to the part where I was really good at that, but then started feeling really bad that I was I never felt like I was taking advantage of people, because I always kind of was full disclosure. Everybody knew what they were paying for when they sat with me, but just got to the point where I was really good at making large amounts of profit on those products, and I stopped feeling good about it, and just stopped feeling like I was helping people. It felt like more I was taking away from them, and I didn't enjoy the feeling of padding my pockets and making a large paycheck when I knew I was maybe putting people in a position where their monthly car payments were larger than they could afford. And, so just things changed in my perception and what I wanted, and just needed something different. So That's kind of where the idea of being a part of what people wanted to spend their money on, go have a business where people spend their time on vacation with me versus, the need to spend money on a car or the want for something different, and then putting them in a position that didn't feel good. So that was kind of the idea with the mind shift and changing the direction. Let's get rid of something that felt bad. So
talk to me about your business idea in terms of being a part of other people's vacations. Like, what does that look like? What does that feel like?
Well, so a lot of it, right? In most of my vacations were time spent on catamaran cruises, on the boat, out in the water, and I found myself talking to the crew a lot. Wanted to talk to the captain of the boat, the deck crew, people that were there just helping, even just serving the drinks and the food, and realizing that a lot of people came from different areas. They all kind of just slowly migrated to this central area, and in different locations. We've gone to Kauai a lot, Maui, and so that's kind of where the thought came from. Was more so when I just kind of sat down, wanted to define what my why was. Why did I want a change? What was important to me? What made me feel good? And that's what I realized is, I would spend all year long working and looking forward to this 1 week vacation and knowing how important this vacation was to me, and kind of getting out of the normal day-to-day grind and kind of back to nature and be able to ground in the water. That was part of kind of what gave me enough drive to keep going every year. And so that was the thought, was if I could create a business where people were wanting to spend time in a location, they were wanting to have the experience of whether it's a sailboat cruise or snorkeling with turtles, that kind of became the focus. Well, and then just after stating that, I have a half brother who lives in Alaska, and he's been up there for 10 years, but he's just got his captain's license, and he's been running and working on a fishing charter business up there in Alaska. That there's a fairly good need for more boats and more businesses up there running out of a certain harbor. So we've been looking at the idea of adding another boat to the company that he's working for, and more so just kind of following the whales. Spend the charter season in Alaska during the summer, and then as the humpback whales go from Alaska to Hawaii, go spend time in Hawaii. So a lot of it is just being a part of what people want to do for their vacation, and letting that become my day-to-day business or day-to-day life, and more so letting the money side of it be the byproduct of just being a part of other people's memories and part of their time away from work. So it's kind of where the thought came, and there's definitely means for it. Now it's just a matter of how that looks and how it changes the family and the dynamic here. So
when are you going out to Hawaii next?
Well, so the first stop was supposed to be up to Alaska. I was going to get there first part of this month. Everything with my brother's kind of been delayed a little bit, and him getting up there and the boat getting in the water, and their first kind of couple weeks of their charter season's just kicked off. So he's got a lot going on there. So I'm going to probably go spend a little bit of time up in Alaska with him in the next week or two. There's kind of this idea of deciding what's happening between the marriage and where we're at there. So there's a few factors that got to get sorted out before I go make some big financial change or go buy a boat. So it's kind of a weird in limbo kind of state. So like I said, I'd ready to go right now if it all made sense, but I've also got to take just enough of a delay to make sure it all makes sense for the family too. So, but I'd be ready to leave right now if I could.
Well, it sounds like you've given it a lot of thought. You're very clear.
Yeah. That tends to be my normal behavior, is, read and then think and plan it out, and then ask a lot of people and figure it out if it makes sense before I make a big decision. But it's kind of a weird feeling now to just, seems like I'm being told just to go make a decision and then figure it out. But
well, it kind of sounds like you already have made a decision in some ways. There's obviously some very important logistics that you have to keep in mind as well. I'm at a loss for words right at the moment, Cody. Sorry.
No, you're good. It's just been a great fun conversation to kind of be able to talk through these things, even that, just complete random strangers, just sharing life experiences and talks, and it's just been actually nice to kind of just verbalize some of the things that have been going through my head lately. So I don't think there needs to be an answer to this either. Just The ability to talk sometimes
Well,
has been fun.
just keep one thing in mind is, the people that are closest to you, whether that be your wife, your kids, certainly family members, longtime close friends. It's tempting to want to talk to all of these people, and of course you should, but keep in mind that when you speak and when you share what it is your dream is and how you envision this and how you would like to proceed and when and all of that stuff, keep in mind that they're not listening just to listen. They're listening with some triggers.
Mm-hmm.
And someone like myself, don't know you. I mean, I identify with you in terms of many things, but I don't have any triggers as it relates to what it is you're trying to build and what it is you're trying to move forward in. If anything, I have compassion and understanding because that too is something that I'm going through. Right. So while it may be a little upsetting that certain people may not feel as excited or as strongly as you are when it comes to certain aspects of what it is you're trying to move forward towards, that's also based on their triggers, not on the value or the worthiness of what it is you're trying to achieve.
No, that makes a lot of sense too, because people are typically engaged in something that benefits them a little bit, or they've got some interest in. So,
all right, and I think the strangers that you're reaching out to, or the strangers that are reaching out to you, just want to connect with you as well. Mm-hmm. There's an aspect of your story that they've heard in any of these reels, any one of them, all of them, that they are identifying with, and so it's now becoming a different type of a conversation. It becomes a different type of a listening experience, and you will find, again, going back to that saying, the teacher appears when the student is ready. Maybe you're ready to hear a particular message from any one of these people that you're speaking to, and vice versa. So it becomes a mutually beneficial conversation.
Yeah. No, it's funny that you say that, because that's kind of a comment I've shared a lot. Was if a relationship is not benefiting each party, then there's no need to maintain that relationship. And so I've kind of had that thought for a long time, right? If somebody's only just taking from you and not being a part of giving back or being there for support or even just emotional support or conversation, they're always the one taking, then I've had a harder time wanting to continue or maintain that relationship when it seems very one-sided. So that's probably very true what you said. I get a lot of people that feel like there's some input to be give on one side and some advice to be heard from the other, and I think it's been actually pretty good the last few weeks, just meeting a lot of random people. So,
and I've learned as well sometimes that you connect with people that you really don't know on a deeper level than sometimes with the people that you've known for a long time.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to people are in your life for a reason or a season. We often want a lifetime. Very seldom do we have something like that. Mm-hmm. Right? And it's you're asking yourself some very powerful questions right now, as you should. Many people don't have the courage to do that, to take the time to reflect and to kind of sit with themselves in silence to figure it all out. And you're having conversations with people that you don't know. Mm-hmm. That I would believe have good intentions in engaging in these calls. But there was something I was going to just say to you about that. Oh, just beware that there are going to be some people in your life right now who may feel a bit of anxiety about you doing what you're doing right now.
Yeah. Oh, that's definitely for sure. That's for real.
So,
and I think
my only word of caution is just be cautious how much you share, what you share.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, and that's been real true, because I think a lot of the times, and I think more so for me, it's been just understanding that we've been kind of programmed to think a certain way and act a certain way, and continue to just keep going even when it doesn't make sense, and kind of breaking free of those thought patterns, and seeing things from a different perspective. I can definitely see when I'm having a conversation with somebody that kind of still feels in that stuck mentality, where they just can't see the idea of doing something different because it feels better. And so, yeah.
Yeah, they won't be able to provide you the level of support or spiritual nourishment, if you will, as you're navigating these waters, because they're not able to do that for themselves.
Yeah.
And it's, I've often said, you won't get it until you get it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only those people that you're engaging with where you're kind of going, oh my God, yeah, don't know you, but oh my God, yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's been weird for me lately is, and I kind of go back to the spiritual side of things, where I feel like there's a lot of, I almost want to say gifts, if you will, or just kind of abilities that are coming online, where sometimes I'd mention that I feel like I'm a human lie detector. Like I can sense when somebody's being honest with me. I can tell when the conversation's been truthful, or when there's a little bit of deceit there. And almost like an understanding of frequency. Like I can tell when things are being spoken in truth versus in a lie. And so
we're speaking the same language, Cody.
Yeah. Yep. So it's sometimes I start a lot of my conversations with telling people, I know this sounds crazy, but it's, I don't know, it's like a way to kind of preface that something's different than normal conversation. There's a different understanding from a higher perspective is what it really feels like. But yeah, there's definitely some things changing in the world, and at least changing in my awareness, my consciousness. So
as it is for me. So I tell you, I'm very grateful for the time that we've spent this past hour, and getting to know you a bit better. And I look forward to seeing your journey, and hopefully there is an opportunity to connect again.
Yeah.
Feel free to reach out. Should you want to chat again?
Yeah, no, and this has been great. Just kind of the back and forth, and great conversation, good insight, and I would enjoy being able to continue a friendship with you. So
absolutely, absolutely, I would be open to that as well.
Excellent. Well, I hope you have the rest of your day goes amazing, and again,
as for you as well, and just I wish you all the very, very best, Cody.
Perfect. Thank you.
Be true to who you are, but more importantly, be true to who you want. Who you are becoming.
Yes, that's the plan. Just got to make sure it feels right. So, okay.
Have yourself a great afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
All right. Take care.
All right, bye. And thank you again for sharing this space with us, and to kind of going through this episode. And I truly appreciate you. I want you guys to know that I've definitely enjoyed having the ability to have people to talk to, and to hear that there's a lot of us out there that are going through something similar in life. And with that, we've also created a little support group. We've got a group there on Facebook. You can find that at The Awakened Stranger. And that's just a space where we can have a little bit more intimate conversations, share some ideas, have some advice, and really kind of have a little bit more close-knit community where we can just be a part of each other's lives. And then also, if you'd love to share an episode with me and spend some time together and share ideas, or talk about your story, your awakening experiences, and how life's been going for you, I'd love to have you schedule a time. We've got links to the Google Calendar that's on my Instagram page, as well as the TikTok page. On TikTok, it's at Cody Rampton. And then on Instagram, it's at The Awakened Stranger. Both of those have links to the Google Calendar where you can select a time slot that works best for you. And we'd love to share a conversation and hear about your life, hear about some of your experiences, and see maybe if there's something out there that you can either help us with, or you can get help from a conversation that you've heard. And that's really kind of the plan, is just to create a space where we all get to share our life, share our experiences, and be there for each other. So if you find that something that you're interested in, definitely reach out. I'd love to have that conversation and hold space with you there. And other than that, I thank you guys again. Thank you for being a part of this. Thanks for the support. And if you've enjoyed this, I also would ask you to follow the podcast. Follow us on Spotify. It's also being duplicated on Amazon Music as well as YouTube. And then we've got the online content, just kind of my journey and my life that's getting posted on TikTok as well as Instagram. And that's just a space to keep up with what I'm doing and kind of how life's changing for me as I go through my own awakening and realizing how much my life is changing the last little bit. So thanks again. Hope you're having a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.